Maybe. Probably. I don't know. Talking about Hall of Fame / MVP voting. Our our hockey consultant Ryan was telling me earlier about Jaromir Jagr officially retired from the NHL.
Yeah, he's over in Europe now, isn't he?
He got reassigned to a team that he owns in Europe. And I think that's the most Jagr way to leave. So, he wanted to give us a shout out. So it's only me and Kelvin again, but Ryan was like, make sure you talk about Jagr. And I was like, okay. So yes, he's definitely a Hall of Famer. What he did, he played for so long. He's second behind Gretzky in points, which means you're first in points.
Yeah.
Because like I told Ryan earlier, it's against Gretzky, you're playing for second. Like nobody's gonna touch him.
No, I mean he just has so many crazy out of this world stats. It's like he's so far ahead of everybody. It's not even close.
It's insane. My favorite stat though is because his brother played in the NHL for 2 years.
Really?
That it's like they're the highest scoring siblings in the NHL.
That's great.
Yeah. And my other favorite stat from him is that if you took his goals away, he's still the leader in points.
I really can't even fathom that.
I remember playing trivia. We used to play trivia at Applebee's, and it was a sports question, and it was like, what is the record that he set? And I was like, okay, 50 is like a milestone. Yeah. And I know it's Gretzky, so I'll say 75. It ended up being 96. I was like, how do you score 96 goals in 82 games? That's absurd. But both of those guys are definitely Hall of Famers. So I think since we're on the subject of Hall of Fame, we'll start with that. But first, I think the biggest one is baseball, because baseball just got released. Yeah. And they had 4. Chipper.
I was about to say Chipper's the one, right?
Yeah, Chipper and Tommy and 2 others.
I don't know. I just feel like I feel like they're always just trying to pick random people because you had so many people that were out just because of the steroid era. I mean, and you have to exclude most of the people from that entire generation of baseball because. I mean, but at the same time, and I think it's weird, and I think it's tough because you want to add them because they put up all these great stats, but at the same time, it's just what can we do with them? They were cheaters. They cheated their entire most, if not their entire career, but most of their career, and you don't want to put them in there, but their stats say that they should be put in there. But at the same time, it's just everybody was on steroids, so it's hard to disqualify the certain people who were dominating, who were on steroids, when everybody was on steroids. It was the big thing.
So my thoughts on this is there are people who are obviously on it. Right. Right. And a lot of people, this is the one thing I disagree with Cespedes Family Barbecue about.
And that's got to be tough for you because you agree with everything.
Yeah. Is Barry Bonds technically, yes, is the all-time home run leader. Yeah. And he has batting average stats at the wazoo, and his walks per plate appearances are insane, and all that stuff. But it was so obvious. He was in numerous reports, and it just stats how much he grew in his career and all that stuff. And the thing is, my argument against Bonds is that McGuire fell off the Hall of Fame ballot. Right. And he was second. He had 70 in a season. And that was the record Bonds broke, and McGuire fell off the ballot. He only had 12%. Right. And you need 25 to stay on or something like that. So if you are going to defend McGuire, you can't defend Bonds either. Yeah. Because I feel like there's even more around Bonds. But
a lot of people, the argument with Bonds is he had great stats prior to when they believe he was taking the steroids. But I don't know how you qualify that.
You don't know exactly when. So if I was making that argument, I would say, you know what, his first 5 or 6 years, he was still pretty good. And then I think it was later in his career when he started to realize he could break the record. Yeah. He needed that extra help. I was like, because his days on the Pirates, which people forget about.
Yeah. Hey, like, a lot of people forget about that.
He was like a 40-40 guy. Like, he was 40 home runs and
40 steals. Yeah, steals, yeah.
Like, he was a quick guy.
Yeah, but he became more power than he became quick. Yeah, in those Giants years, he was like, it's like, what happened there? Like, hitting the protein a lot.
Yeah. So it's, I would either make a spot in my head because it's so subjective and say, hey, okay, I'm only going to consider his first 5 years if they're Hall of Fame worthy, or I would just say, you know what, I don't know exactly when it started.
Yeah.
He could have been taking steroids before he got drafted.
Yeah. And that's an asterisk you have to put in there. But like, I mean, I don't know. It's just, I really don't know what you do with all those people because it's such a huge era of all these individuals that you just have to exclude because they were, seen as cheaters, whether they were fully convicted or not. I mean, you have to just leave them. You have to leave them off because the uncertainty around it.
Yeah, that's my thought process too. Is like there's no definitive thing about them, and it's just because there are people that got through. Jim Thome never got accused of anything. Yeah, first ballot Hall of Famer, and the prime of his career was like 90s, early 2000s, and Chipper Jones just got in. And a lot of people from the 90s / steroid era are getting in. I think there's also the argument about, well, like, in the 60s and 70s, people were also doing drugs. Yeah. Right? But at my point, like, in the 60s and 70s, literally everyone on Earth was doing drugs.
So you can't just pinpoint a couple people. Like,
and I feel like... Robin Williams did a skit on Doc Ellis, how he threw the no-hitter on LSD, and I feel like that made it harder for you.
I feel like it would have too. Like, I feel like that.
Yeah. I'll put a link in when this video gets up to that skit, because that is a fantastic skit. But that's the thing, like, steroids were obviously, like, people taking them to get better because they showed you had more power, and that's the main thing. I feel like it was that's why I never understood like pitchers taking them, because you could throw a fastball as fast as you want, but like a pitching is all about deception. So unless you had a really good changeup to go with it or a really good curveball, I don't think steroids could help you curve it better. It didn't make sense for me why like middle relief pitchers were taking steroids and get suspended and risking their careers. Yeah. Cough, J.C. Romero on the Phillies. Just walked into a GNC and bought steroids that was on the banned list. But I don't know. With baseball, it's weird, and I don't know how you can like... I think the only way I would change the Hall of Fame ballot, though, it would be, instead of, like, you only get 10 people to vote on, I feel like they should open up the ballots a little more.
Yeah, but, I mean, it's...
But at the same time, then you just...
But I think that, because... And we talked about this last episode, too, like, there's just so many stats and so many numbers that... I think they overanalyze it when it comes to certain players, and, like, oh, yeah, well, like, they didn't, like, they weren't consistent their entire career, it's... And I don't know. And I think, like... You have to get such a high percentage of the votes to get in as well, like of the media votes, I'm pretty sure.
You need 75% to get in.
Yeah.
And I think you need like 25% to
stay on the ballot, right?
Well, you only stay on the ballot for 10 years. Which is the Edgar Martinez like argument that he was a DH. He got like 73 this year, so he has like 3 more years left. And they're like, next year's a year. Yeah. And it's been like 5 years they've been saying that. So, it just, I don't know, like, it feels like the voting system for, like, everything is just so in-depth. Like, it's not as simple, okay, I vote for him.
Yeah, and I think it's mainly like that for baseball. Like, compared to, like, other sports, I think it's a lot more difficult to get in baseball than it is in other sports.
Oh, I feel like... Definitely.
Like I feel like the Basketball Hall of Fame is like the easiest the easiest Hall of Fame to get into. Like, hey, you can get in there for like if you're coaching a long period of time or something like that, or just like playing in a league for a long amount of time and like getting like amassing a certain amount of stats over years and things like that. And I think it's a lot easier for the NBA, like for NBA compared to, and I think more people get in every single year. I mean, you're looking at.
I feel like it did. I feel like at least 5 people every year.
At least, right? Yeah. And I think it could be more depending on like who's eligible per year and everything like that. Like for me, like I saw Yao Ming get into a Hall of Fame. And I don't think Yao Ming had like that successful of a career. Like he had a good career, don't get me wrong, but I don't think it was a Hall of Fame level career.
It's that line of when you go from
he did
great to Hall of Fame.
And he didn't last that long in the NBA too because of injuries and like
injured so much,
injured all the time. I don't think he ever hit him like with the Rockets because he was with Tracy McGrady, so I don't think they ever made it past like the second round of the playoffs. So on top of that, you didn't win a championship, and I'm just like, and I don't understand how he got in. Like I said, I don't think he was a bad player by any means. I just don't know how he gets in with the stats that he had and the fact that he didn't have that level of success in the playoffs either. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's a lot easier compared to like MLB, where like the MLB is just like, you need to have this, and this over this amount of time. And not be there's no steroid cloud above your head or anything like that. Like that's why I get scary for David Ortiz for a little bit, because it's like, I mean, he's going to the Hall of Fame, but there was like that whole steroid allegation that came out a little bit closer to the end of his career.
He had the steroids, and he's also a career DH.
Right, that as well. Yeah,
I think he is too. I think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah,
we'll have to wait till. Was he eligible next year? I think, or 5 years. I forget when he retired.
He just retired last year.
Was it last?
I'm pretty sure it was just last year.
I was thinking he retired after the World Series.
Now, do you think Ryan Howard goes in?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I mean,
he had like a 3-year gap where he was like the most feared hitter in baseball.
But he also had a high strikeout percentage as well.
He had a huge strikeout percentage, which I don't think by itself is bad.
Right.
Like say in his career he averaged 40 home runs and hit 300, but averaged 300 strikeouts a game.
Yeah.
I would say, okay, one bad thing over those few good things, like I'll look at the good things.
Right.
But in Ryan Howard's case, after he tore his Achilles, he was done.
Yeah.
And even the 2 years leading up to that, his batting average was lower.
Right.
Than he was still hitting 30 home runs, 30 to 40. That 1 year he hit 59. But
you think Pujols gets in?
I think Pujols gets in.
I think so too. I think he has. I think he's had a consistent career. I mean, obviously he's tailed. I mean, he was never gonna live up to that at the last few years of the contract that he signed.
When you sign a 10-year contract at 31.
Yeah, exactly. Of course, you're not gonna live up. I mean, I think people were surprised at how early he started to tail off. I mean, he finally started to get injuries and everything like that.
Yeah,
he never got any kind of injuries when he was with the Cardinals or anything like that.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing too, because he's a first baseman.
Yeah, and he's not a career DH. Yeah.
I think when it comes to defense, baseball is one of those few sports where you look at both sides of the player. So it's like, okay, well, he was a good first baseman. He didn't give up a lot of errors.
Yeah.
But I think regardless of his errors and his fielding percentage, he would have gotten in on his offense alone.
I think so as well.
Yeah.
Which
favors the DH argument.
Right.
If he's playing first base.
Over 500 home runs?
Yeah, easily. Did he get to 600? I want to say he got to 600.
I think he might have gotten to 600 too.
Yeah, because to realistically break, who is it, Bonds' record, quote unquote. Well, to get to 700, he needs to play 3 or 4 more years, and they're questioning if he could
do 2. Yeah.
Same thing with A-Rod too when he was getting to that.
Yeah.
That line. So
I think he might get back in. He might get into the Hall of Fame just because he's America's sweetheart now with J-Lo.
Yeah.
He's on College Game Day. He's on. I think he's on ESPN.
College Game Day.
He was on College Game Day, you know how they do the celebrity guest pickers or whatever.
He just got a job on College Game Day. I was like, why?
He's actually good as an announcer, as an analyst.
Yeah, I remember watching him in the playoffs on Fox.
Yeah,
he was pretty good.
Right.
Yeah, I think I'm going to bring up a point my brother brought up over Thanksgiving, because this is what we're talking about over Thanksgiving dinner, is the 08 Phillies might be, not counting managers / execs, might be the only team in baseball only championship team to not have a Hall of Famer. Really? And I think Cole Hamels might get in. Yeah. If he stays steady the rest of his career.
Where is he now?
He's in Texas now.
Oh, he is in Texas. That's right. That's right.
He's been in Texas for 3 or 4 years.
Right. Yeah.
But so he's still average. I think at one point last year he had a 2.5 ERA, but he nobody talks about him because he's the third guy in the rotation. Yeah. On the Rangers, Well,
that's right. Well, I mean, it's mainly when they had Darvish back over there too.
Yeah. So I think he might get in, but everybody Jimmy Rollins, I don't think he's a Hall of Famer.
I don't. Yeah.
Ryan Howard isn't. Chase Utley is on the line. I think in basketball, like, he gets in because he's that type of player where he's been good.
Yeah.
Like, to your point. But I don't know if he's, like, he might be, like, a 5th or 6th year guy. They're like, oh, he was pretty good.
Yeah.
Like, because he's a career, like, 280 hitter. Like, it's...
And it's funny because I see a lot of people, like, pose questions in the NBA when it comes to, like, is he going to get into Hall of Fame? Like, I think they were talking about Paul Pierce. And I'm like, I mean, if it was like a normal, if it was like MLB Hall of Fame, like, no, he doesn't get in.
Oh, no.
But since it's Basketball Hall of Fame, I mean, he stayed in the league long enough. He averaged a certain amount of points over the year. He has one championship. So yeah, I mean,
he has the one.
Yeah, because I think he just had the one with the Celtics, and I don't think he won because they just won the one against the Lakers. I don't think they won anymore. I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure he just has.
I want to say just the one.
Yeah, I think that sounds right.
I just forget because, like, I feel like those Celtics made it to, like, 3 in a row.
I don't
know.
They
made it to at least 2.
Yeah, I think it was at least 2. I don't think it was 3 in a row, though. I could be wrong.
Or maybe 3 and 4 years or something.
Yeah,
I just feel like they're in the finals, like, every year.
Yeah.
They're together. As also, if you haven't noticed by now, I'm not good at basketball. So I was like, I don't know. Like, I felt like they had at least 1 or 2 more, but at the same time, it's like, maybe they didn't. Like...
No, I think it was just the one. That sounds right. So there's so many players, especially I think there's so many NBA players that I think could be fringe players. Like, I don't think Dirk Nowitzki is a fringe player. I mean, he's done it for such a long time is the main thing. He's won a championship. He's been to a few different NBA championships. And he's one of the 6 30,000 point players.
Side note on NBA stats, the points,
which
is absurd. Like, scoring thousands of points.
Yeah.
Because it's so high scoring and you play for so long.
Yeah, well, I mean, especially
it blows my mind every time I see
Kareem. Kareem, like, a lot of people forget that Kareem has the all-time scoring, like, leader is the all-time scoring leader because, I mean, he played in the league for, I think, like 19 years. Like, he played against Wilt Chamberlain, and he played with with Magic Johnson.
Yeah.
Like that's two very. I feel like that's 2 very different eras of NBA. Like, he played without the 3-point line through most of his career, and he played with the 3-point line, and that's crazy to me because he played for such a long time. And yes, Magic Johnson did beat AIDS. So,
yeah. Well, I think, like, the NBA is more of they consider off-field, off-court things as well. Like, if you were famous for enough and you were a good team leader, even though your stats might not have been good. Like, basketball is a very star-centered league.
Yeah.
Whereas baseball and even football... I'm going to leave that up to the imagination. Let's just say Robbie made an appearance. We'll let you figure out what just happened. But yeah, like, that's why I feel like Dirk is on the line of Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Because he's the face of the Mavericks for so long.
Such a long time.
Yeah, and I think that might be the pushing.
Like I say, I think he's in. I mean, especially with that championship, and like he's one of the only players that's ever won a championship where he didn't have another superstar alongside him.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that gets I think that gets you far away to the Hall of Fame conversation. Like, I think somebody who's going to be a fringe player who's eventually going to get in is going to be Vince Carter. I mean, he's had such a long career. Isn't he
really still playing?
He's still playing. Yeah, he's in his 40s.
He won the dunk contest 17 years ago.
Yeah,
and he's still playing.
And he's still doing well. Like he's one of the all-time leaders in 3-point field goals made. Like, he wasn't a good 3-point. He wasn't a great 3-point shooter to start his career. He just shot so many throughout his long ass career that it's just like it just averaged out. It's like, oh, I guess I'm up there on the list now.
Yeah.
So I think and I think it's also very different when we talk about the NFL Hall of Fame too, because
that's what I feel like the NFL Hall of Fame is more, what's the word I'm looking? It's like, if you were a superstar, you're getting it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Not even like if you were really good. It's just like Ray Lewis is getting it.
Yeah, like you got to be a superstar. Like, you got to be like a transcendent kind of a player. And it doesn't hurt if you have some Super Bowl wins behind you, too. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's another, I mean, regular sense, too. But
yeah, I mean, especially if you're a quarterback. If you're a quarterback, like, I mean, you need Super Bowl wins. Except for if you're Dan Marino and you just have, like, crazy throwing, like, you have crazy stats.
Well, that was going to be my next question, is how much does the postseason affect the Hall of Fame vote? For any sport, really. I think football right now. Because
if you look at it, I mean, like, there's going to be huge debate on whether or not Eli Manning should be in the Hall of Fame. I mean, like, he has postseason success, he has 2 Super Bowl wins, but like, he doesn't have the stats over his career. You know what I'm saying?
And he also has a miracle play.
Yeah, exactly. He's also had really good defenses alongside with him too. Yeah. I mean, and then and it's going to be tough for you to be like, oh yeah, Phillip Rivers has had the stats his entire career, all his career and everything like that. He's done well all of his season, but he just doesn't have. He's never had the team around him. But he's never won a Super Bowl. He's never had any kind of postseason success. But he has the stats, as opposed to Eli Manning, who has a postseason success but doesn't necessarily have the stats. You know, so I think that's gonna be tough. And I don't know if Phillip Rivers gets in because. I mean, I think it's tough because I think he hasn't even made like a deep run into the playoffs. You know.
Yeah, but if I'm
at least Dan Marino made it to Super Bowl, you know?
Yeah. If I'm deciding between Phillip Rivers and Eli, though, I would go Phillip Rivers.
I would go Phillip Rivers, too.
Didn't he just, like, last season throw for 4,000 yards?
Yeah.
Like, again?
Yeah, again,
He's done that a fair amount of times.
And Eli, I feel, doesn't throw for a lot of 4,000 seasons, but he does throw for a lot of interceptions.
Yeah.
Especially if he doesn't have, like, a big-time talent around him. Like, when he doesn't have OBJ, like, he doesn't look like the same offense. If he didn't have Victor Cruz when Victor Cruz is in his prime, it's not the same offense. You know what I'm saying?
I feel like, especially with stats becoming so...
Yeah.
In reference to last episode. I feel like more people are, especially football, because I feel like stats can be deceiving in football. Right. I feel like if you throw, not to take anything away from Phillip Rivers, not to go back on the point I just made, but if you, like, some people may argue, like, 4,000 yards, but his receivers ran, for after the catch, and that padded his stats. Same thing with Drew Brees. Drew Brees has thrown for 5,000 yards past, like, 10 years.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's got all the passes, and he's thrown for, like, he's thrown to the moon and back, honestly.
Yeah. And he only has a one ring.
Yeah, but I think one ring will get you. Like, I think that's like one ring is fine. I mean, like,
that's the cherry on top for Drew Brees.
Yeah.
His career is Hall of Fame, but then you say, okay, he also made.
I mean, he's like, for sure Hall of Fame. Yeah. With and I think longevity. Like, I think seeing Jason Witten as a Cowboys fan, and I'm like, I mean, you for me, I think he's a no-brainer. But on the outside, I mean, like, he doesn't have the greatest stats. Like, he's never been, like, the stat pilot. Like, he has, like, the third most or second most receptions for a tight end in NFL history. But he's also been in the league for a long time. And he was Tony Romo's security blanket for a long time as well, where he would get tons of receptions in the game. So, I mean, like, from like, my perspective, I'm like, he's got to be Hall of Famer. But at the same time, I'm like, I can see how other people make the argument that he wouldn't be,
As an Eagles fan, I think he is. But like we're saying, the way the NFL chooses their Hall of Famers, like, I feel like in baseball he wouldn't be.
In
NFL, I think he played for so long.
Yeah.
He had in a time of controversy among the NFL, not just Cowboys. So I want to make that clear. He's one of the most traveled guys.
Yeah.
He never really did anything against the league, per se.
He's Iron Man. He's missed one game his entire career, and that was his rookie season when he had a broken jaw.
Yeah, and I think if you in the NFL, it's kind of hard because, like, in the NFL and the MLB, you kind of look at the position. I feel like you can't just look at what they did for the game. You have to look at the position as well.
Yeah,
and among tight ends, he's pretty good.
Yeah, like I said, he's only second.
He's not a Hall of Famer.
Like I said, he's only second in receptions and tight end behind Tony Gonzalez, and literally no one's gonna catch Antonio.
Tony Gonzalez is the Wayne Gretzky of tight ends.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like I was like, he's up there. I mean, like Jason Witten's up there, but like Gonzalez is way up there. Like, he's up there with the wide receivers. He's up there, like not too far behind.
Because he was a wide receiver.
He was after Kellen Winslow, like, he was that kind of tight end that shattered the mold. And then, everybody started migrating to, like, let's get the guy who's a decent basketball player, but, like, won't play basketball in the NBA. Right. And then we're like, so we started going Antonio Gates.
Yeah.
Jimmy Graham. Who else? feel like there's other people. Oh, Julius Thomas, when he was really successful with the Broncos with Peyton Manning, he hasn't done anything since then because he hasn't had a quarterback.
I think that's another factor too when you look at players. And well, if he wasn't that good, what's his name? There's somebody on the Patriots.
Wes Welker.
No, Wes Welker, because he went from Tom Brady to Peyton Manning. Same thing, Marvin Harrison, and then he went from Peyton to Andrew Luck for the first couple years. Luck was there, right? Wasn't he?
No, that was Reggie Wayne.
Reggie Wayne,
yeah.
Reggie Wayne, yeah. You might look. I want to say who was it? It might have been Deion Branch, actually.
That sounds.
He was in the early rounds.
Yeah.
And he went to Oakland for 2 years.
Right.
And then came back and his stats went back up again. So I think if you're looking from a player's point and say, oh, well, when he's out of Belichick's system, he's pretty bad. So that might come a factor. Obviously someone like Brady, who's been in the system the whole time.
Yeah.
Other people have been in the system the whole time. It works for them.
And there's also certain cases where people have down years with their teams too, but they're still super really good transcendent players. I mean, you look at Randy Moss. So when Randy Moss was over in Oakland, he was struggling. He never really had a quarterback over there or anything like that.
That was after the Patriots, so was it?
No, that was before the Patriots. Yeah, because they traded him to the Patriots.
Oh.
And then you see what he does in the Patriots system.
Well, when you have Brady,
he blows up, and
he just do a cut,
that was
10 yards down.
He just do a post, and you just do a fly route, just straight down the field, and just oh yeah, that's a touchdown because for some reason Randy Moss can still run a 4.3 40. It's that freaky, it's insane. But I mean,
it feels like that might be on the opposite end. Though. Maybe he's a good player besides that 1 or 2 years. Yeah. Because he was really good in Minnesota too.
And
I think that's where he made his name.
Oh, that's how he got drafted too. Yeah.
When you go down for 2 years but then bounce back, you're okay, well that one down here, whereas others might.
And those were the really, really bad Oakland years too. I think that was around Lane Kiffin times. Ooh. I could be wrung. I could be wrong, but yeah, it sounds around those times. But like I said, and on top of that, the NFL is it's so media driven too. I mean, if you weren't a fan of that player in the media, look at Terrell Owens right now. I mean, he's struggling to get in. I mean, he's got the stats.
He's second in everything.
Yeah, he's second. He's second in receptions. Yeah, mainly Jerry Rice and Moss.
Jerry Rice, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he's up there. He's got the stats. I mean, he's been to Super Bowl. And I think if you have a rule named after rule for you in the league, you should go into the horseshoe tackle. Yeah, you should go into the NFL. Same thing with Jason, or into the Hall of Fame. Same thing with Jason Witten. Jason Witten, after against when he played the Eagles and they ripped his helmet off and he still ran 25 yards down the field. After that, they made it a point where if your helmet comes off and you're the ball carrier, they immediately blow the whistle. So I think if you got a rule, I mean Brady's got all the rules, so he's gonna get into the Hall of Fame 18 times. We got the tuck rule. Got the can't go at the quarterback's knees rule. You got hit him only right here in the stomach. Yeah. He's got them all. So I think.
Sorry, we were talking about it was a Squadcast episode. We were talking about lucky situations.
Yeah.
And that's how I started off. Of course, I went Ryan and Blake, and they're like, "Yeah, sure, we'll take your word for it." And I was like, "Well, if you look at what the Patriots did, Belichick got fired from the Browns and got hired, and they got Brady in the 6th round because Bledsoe got injured.
Yeah.
You have the tuck rule. You have Vinatieri winning 3 of the Super Bowls for you. You have the shanked kicked by Billy Cundiff that 1 year.
Oh God, yeah.
What was it, 23 yards, and he just
with the Ravens. Yeah.
So you have that. You have questionable pass interference calls that they're undefeated season.
Yeah.
Even
got the Deflate Gate.
Super Bowl. Yeah, you have the Deflate Gate. But it's still they got lucky.
Yeah.
And at a certain point, you can't just be like, oh, this is all skill.
Yeah.
Because Belichick, I would give credit to because he kept the team going.
Yeah.
But, you look at some of these things that happen, and you're like, they're literally one play away from not being in most of those Super Bowls.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's my rant.
No, that's a very fair point.
Yeah, that's just what happens, though.
Yeah. That's just how the ball bounces a lot of times, sometimes they say it's better to be lucky than be good. There just happen to be a lot of both.
Yeah.
And that's you don't you don't come from 25-point deficit, to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, you can't not be good.
Yeah, like that's good. That's good and luck. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, that's looked at the Falcons. They're like, let's not run the ball. Like, maybe that's a thing. Maybe they just don't run the ball. I mean, the interception with Malcolm Butler. That's a
God.
Marshall in the backfield at the 2. Something about not running up against the Patriots.
It's like they put him under hypnosis. Like, you will not run this ball today.
Belichick's just stirring tea on the sideline.
Oh my God!
That's what he's doing during halftime. Like, that's why he's the best halftime adjustment. Anyway, we're going to talk about Hall of Fame people.
But yeah, so I mean, I think it's such a media-driven type thing, especially in the NFL Hall of Fame. Just because, I mean, like I said, people didn't like Terrell Owens, and it shows. It's showing that. Yeah, I think that's the biggest one. I think he's going to get in, and I think he deserves to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. But I think it'll take him. I think it'll take him a little bit, but I think he deserves to definitely get in. That kind of time heals all wounds, and even and I think he said something about him not wanting to go in as a 49er.
Who would he go in as?
That's what my question was. I was like, who would you go in as? Because you didn't you weren't your welcome everywhere else.
Maybe it was 2 years in Philly.
Yeah,
maybe 3.
Yeah,
the Super Bowl year, and then the year after.
I think so.
I think the year after was the push-ups in the driveway, or the sit-ups.
The crunch on, the crunches. Yep. I was thinking maybe Dallas, but I should watch because he went to 2 more teams after he went to Dallas. He was in Cincinnati and went to the Bills.
I forgot he was in Cincinnati.
Yeah. Because he was there with Ocho Cinco.
Yeah. Those two together. Oh, man.
Still never won a playoff game.
God. Well, that's the thing, too. If Andy Dalton continues the way he does, is that held against him? If he never wins a playoff game, but has...
Yeah, but that's that would be if he has the crazy stats, and he doesn't have those crazy stats yet. And like I said, and it puts a lot. Especially when with wide receivers, I think it's tough too, because if you've never had a quarterback your entire career and you were good and you're still putting up good stats, of course it's not skewed towards your favor. Yeah. Especially back in before the passing game became such a prevalent part in football. All these wide receivers are getting insane stats and getting in because that's what the league has evolved into, and not the run first where all the running backs were getting in there and they were getting all the glory, and it's just different. Especially it's just different the way the game's played now.
That's the thing too. It's hard to compare. If you were to say, well, if he was playing league now, I'm like, well, you can't do that. And second of all, these people are... I saw someone on Twitter bash the MLB writers because half these writers are so old and out of it. And they still have the game is still being played like it was 20 years ago. And in any sport, every 10 years, the game changes.
Oh, yeah.
So you have to look at what they did in that era and not what they did,
And and that's true for all sports, too. All these sports, quickly have evolved. We talked about it, with the analytics and stuff like that, with the numbers and what teams are now doing, franchises are doing per different sport and things like that. Now you're gonna have more 3-point shooters get in the NBA because that's what it's evolved into. It's your Steph Curry's, your Klay Thompson's, your everybody can shoot threes. And if you can't shoot threes, then you're Jahlil Okafor and you get traded.
You get sent.
Yeah.
Bottom of the barrel, bottom of the totem pole.
Yeah. And then
you sit there for 2 years, then get traded.
And then now, I think you need to be in NFL. I think you need to be a really special running back and have insane stats for you to be in the Hall of Fame. It was a lot easier for when it was a run first league back in especially in the 90s when it was 90s and before that, and where you had Emmitt Smith, Barry Sanders, you had Walter Payton, all those players that were in a run first offense and in a run first league for the most part, and they all got in because they were crazy stats and everything like that, especially with Barry Sanders. If Barry Sanders had any kind of an offensive line ever, he would have shattered the NFL rushing record, and Emmitt Smith would not even sniffed it.
Well, my question for right now, it came to mind, is Adrian Peterson a Hall of
I was thinking the same thing too, and
he had the single game record.
He does.
He came just shy of the
end of the
season record.
Season record, yeah.
Came just shy of that.
He has a 2,000 yard
field goal instead of like going for it or something. Like he
got him in field goal position,
and then they chose to kick it.
Yeah, they chose to kick it to win the game
instead of like giving it.
Yeah.
I mean, he probably could have ran for a touchdown.
Yeah.
It was like
that was
3 years.
I think that was like the season right after his torn ACL too.
Oh yeah, that was the year where nobody like thought he could.
Yeah, where he was like, oh,
he can't rush.
Yeah,
like he did.
He was like on the wrong side of 29, I think too. I think he does get in. I don't know if he's first ballot, but I think he will get in.
That's the thing too. Like it's a lot of, especially I feel like nowadays it's a lot of bursts of someone can be good for like 2 or 3 years.
Oh yeah,
and then just disappear.
Oh yeah, like look at Chris Johnson with who ran for the Tennessee Titans, and like he had the 2,000 yard season. He had like few good years in a row, and then it evaporated that fast, and he can't stay on the team. I mean, especially, and it's tough for running backs now because the longevity just isn't there. I mean, you're not seeing a lot of running backs that last until their 30s, and and they're like. And a lot of times they don't get a second contract, and if that second they do get a second contract, it's not a huge one.
Second contract is a big.
Yeah, I mean, look at DeMarco Murray. DeMarco Murray had over 1,800 yards rushing, and the Cowboys didn't pay him. And obviously Eagles ended up paying him, but I mean. But like, I mean, it's like a lot of times it'll happen. It'll just be like one quick year and then bam, they just one or two quick years and then bam, they're gone. I mean, like he's probably gonna get half the carries next year because they're gonna have Derrick Henry and they're gonna run Derrick Henry until his knees and legs are bad and everything like that, and then they move on to the next one. So like I said, it's tough. Like I think he will because I think he's of a different breed, and he will get in. But now I think the game has evolved even more now towards like it's a pass happy league, it's pass option, and it's like nice to be able to run the ball consistently and have that guy who can get you 20-25 carries a game. But at the same time, you need him to be able to catch out of the backfield. You need them. Yeah. You need them to be an every down back. You don't need them to be like that's the problem with Adrian Peterson. He's a 1 and 2. He's a first, second down runner. He's never been particularly great at pass protection. He's been good, but I mean, and he's gotten better over the years and everything like that. But he's never been like a great receiver out of the backfield. I mean, you're now looking at players where they're like that's their like they can do that really well. Like they can line up outside, they can line up coming out of the backfield, and they can run different routes. I mean, look at Le'Veon Bell. Le'Veon Bell is like the second leading receiver on the Pittsburgh Steelers year in and year out, and he's also still the leading rusher. I mean, David Johnson before he got injured last season. I mean, David Johnson. He was there. I mean, he could spread him outside in the slide out of the backfield. He can catch and he could run between the tackles and run outside the tackles. So I think that's where the league is evolving to. And like with the Eagles, I mean they've done a good job because I mean not a lot of times you see people keep that many running backs on their 53-man roster, but they've done it and they've done it very successfully. And it's crazy because all their backs can do something different, and that's what makes it so unique. I mean, you have your power runner with LeGarrette Blount, you have your speed kind of bounce rusher with J.J. I mean Corey Clement, you have as your scat back, kind of catch the ball in the backfield kind of a guy too. So I mean, you have all three of those backs, and I think what the NFL wants to move towards now is like having all three of those backs into one package. So I think that's why. I mean, you're looking at people being as high as they are on Saquon Barkley in this year's drafts. And that's because he can run inside, he can run outside, and he can catch the ball, and you can spread him out everywhere, and he can return. Yeah, exactly. So you want that multifaceted, like almost like a 5 utility kind of a player,
It's like baseball, 5 tools.
Yeah.
I think. I mean, it's the only guy I kept thinking of was Peyton Hillis.
Oh my God! One season.
The one Madden cover year.
Yeah, with the Browns, and then literally nothing else after that.
Nothing. He got shut down the next year.
Yeah.
I remember. I think it was at High Point when that happened. So fall 2010.
Yeah.
And one kid drafted him in his fantasy late in the season because nobody knew who Peyton Hillis was. So there was a place on campus where they had Red Zone on the main TV.
Oh, okay.
But they also had different games on the sides.
Yeah.
Remember what place I'm talking about here? If you know anything about High Point University. But so it was we would go there for 1:00 games. We'd go be there all day. This was before I fell in love with Red Zone though.
The one true low.
Yeah. So we go for the 1 o'clock games because, like, my friend was a Browns fan because he grew up in Cleveland.
Okay.
And, like, I was the Eagles fan and the Ravens. And because most of Maryland decided to go to High Points. There were, like, so many Ravens
Really? That's
fans.
really weird.
Yeah. Like, there were more Ravens fans than there were, like, Panthers fans.
I bet say, because that's in North Carolina.
Yeah. So, like, all of us would just, like, chill there. And I just remember, I was like, who is Peyton Hillis? Like, who is this guy? And the next year, they're like, Peyton Hillis. And then he literally got shut down. Like, he didn't do anything. I think that's one of the quickest falls from Earth, like, ever.
Yeah, there's a few of them out there.
Yeah. But he was, like, so good, and then just...
Yeah.
Like...
Yeah, like Icky Woods. Like, Icky Woods was... Like, he was. I mean, he had Icky Shuffle and everything like that.
Yeah. Like, I thought of Jeremy Lin, too. But he only had, like, a week of, like, super.
Yeah, he only had, like I think it was, like, 13 games.
Yeah.
Of, like stardom.
It wasn't
and, like, he's still,
so
like,
long.
he's parlayed it into a lot of money somehow.
Yeah. I mean, sponsorships, I think he got a lot of. So, it's just...
Yeah, and he has his own shoe, too.
Oh, does he?
Yeah. It's not like a Nike or anything like that. It's a Chinese brand called Linning.
Well, then.
I mean, Dwayne Wade has it, too. He's with Linning, too. It's like Li-ing. I think so. I could be wrong. I don't know.
And the link, a couple other points to hit on. We're at the 45-minute mark.
Are you really?
Yeah. So... I know we're kind of talking as we're recording, so we can either supersize this episodes and get into MVP, or we could just do a few more minutes Hall of Fame and save MVP.
We can save MVP.
Okay, we're saving it. Calling an audible here.
Yeah. I
know I lied in the beginning in the intro. I said Hall of Fame and MVP, but you know what happens. So I'm trying to think. I was thinking of something before I got sidetracked. If there's any like players that right now that aren't a stat, like Brady's obviously a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Right. Pujols is a Hall of Famer.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like NBA LeBron is. Like, we know those guys. Do you think there's anybody that's like been in any league for like maybe 4 or 5 years that will be a Hall of Famer like 15 or 20 years from now? Because I mean, my first thought is Mike Trout.
Yeah.
Not to jinx him.
Right.
Jersey boy, but I think his first 5 years he was first or second in the MVP voting.
Yeah, and that's insane. Yeah, that's absolutely insane.
People like forget about him because he's playing on the Angels. So
yeah, he plays
on LA's beach.
Yeah, and he's playing on the West Coast time zone. So now, I mean, us on the East Coast don't really get that much of opportunity to actually sit down and watch him.
Yeah, so it's kind of. So I think Mike Trout would be the one guy. I'm like, he's a Hall of Famer. Like the way he's been, because my rule of thumb is 2 years. Like if you do well for 2 years, mainly baseball because it's such a long season.
Yeah.
Like, maybe I should up that ante a little bit to like 4 or 5. But if you do well for that long, like, and you're consistent, you're probably gonna continue unless you have a career-threatening injury.
Yeah.
But like is there in football? You know, like people might say, like hardcore Philly fans might say Carson Wentz is a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
He's played 2 years. 1 year he went 7-9.
Yeah.
Like, this year he
tore his ACL.
Yeah.
But I mean, he still had a hell of a season prior to the injury.
Yeah.
So like, and I think, so
it's hard to say.
It really is too, because you don't know what they're gonna do. Especially you don't know what they're gonna do the rest of their career. Like I think, especially like I think it's still too early to say right now with Carson Wentz. Because I mean, like I said, it's only been in the league 2 years. Like Mike Trout, I think you can definitely. I mean, granted, he has any kind of crazy, unforeseen, super catastrophic injury.
Yeah.
But
even then, like, say he stopped playing the game, he was just like, you know what, I'm done.
Yeah.
Alright, I played 5 years, that's enough. He's probably still a Hall of Famer with the numbers he put up to those 5 years.
Yeah.
You know, like, what he did is insane. And people don't talk, he steals bases, like, a lot.
And he still has power, too, doesn't he?
Oh, yeah.
He has a good amount of power,
he's
right?
Like a 30 home run hitter.
Okay, yeah, so that's pretty good.
It's not quite 40-40, because that stat has kind of died.
Yeah.
It's rare to find something like that.
Very, very rare. Because, like, a lot of people who, like, are, like, the good, like, base stealers are, like, don't have that kind of power.
Yeah. You know, it's like the D. Gordon.
Yeah, right, exactly. He started hitting
60 pounds.
Yeah, started hitting home runs, and they forgot. Oh, like you're using PEDs.
Yeah, especially with PEDs. So like, but I would say he's a 30-30 guy. Like 30 home runs, 30 stolen bases. Like he's Mike Trout's just absurd. But I think like in football, I'm trying to think of like a person who's been in the league a little while now. I'm trying to think like I know we talked about Adrian Peterson a little bit. It's someone in that middle range where they haven't played that long.
Yeah.
You know, like is like Russell Wilson. He's in his 5th year, right? He's been in the league 6 years.
I mean, I think you make an argument for him too. I mean, he's got a Super Bowl win. He's been to 2.
Yep, he was one play away
from winning a second one. Yeah. And he completely revitalized that entire team. I think you can really make that argument that, I mean, he for sure could be a Hall of Famer. Your boy Embiid, I think if he stays healthy.
I mean, he's only been on 2 years too.
Yeah.
2 limited years.
Yeah. But I think if he gets healthy and stays healthy, I think he's got a legitimate shot.
That's why, like, especially nowadays, if you're a good player, and you play for like 10 years, like, you're a Hall of Famer.
Like if you look at Steph Curry, Steph Curry has only really been this good for a few years.
Yeah, I remember he came out of nowhere.
I don't know.
I was like, where did this kid come from? I remember him on Davidson.
Yeah,
2007.
And beating Georgetown, and then
and then he got to the league. I was like, all right, he's one of those guys who. Oh, that's a point. We have 10 minutes left. If never mind, I'll save that for the MVP. Save that for the MVP talk. Yeah. But he went into the NBA and I forgot he existed, and then all of a sudden he's draining threes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh yeah. I was like, this kid from the Davidson. I don't get it.
He's had some injury. He has had some injury problems. We had some injury issues when he first came in. He had some ankle problems and stuff like that. And they just weren't a good team. It was also part of the fact that he was on the West Coast as well, so they weren't getting that kind of national exposure as the East Coast, and they weren't winning as well. So that's a big thing. If you're not winning, nobody cares. But I mean, they brought Mark Jackson in. He really did a hell of a job with that team. He got them to where they were. They drafted right and everything like that. And I feel like that's not a lot of people get enough credit for the Warriors, and they just built this super team and everything like that. I'm like, with the exception of Kevin Durant, they really built this team. They drafted very well. I mean, they drafted. Klay Thompson was drafted by them. Steph Curry was drafted by them. Draymond Green was drafted by them. He was drafted in the second round by him.
You got Iguodala.
He was drafted by the 76ers.
I remember him on the Sixers.
Yeah.
He played a few years there, but it was they got him when
and he was good young. Back there. He was really good when he was young back then.
Literally call him nice AI.
Yeah, because he was exactly. Because AI had just left, and he was with the Nuggets around that time.
Oh yeah, we never played off the Nuggets.
It was back with the black 76ers jerseys and everything.
I miss those jerseys.
Yeah, those are good. I wish teams would go back to their old school not old school their early 2000 uniforms, the 76ers.
Yeah.
That
went over the shoulder.
Yeah.
They weren't sleeveless. They're 3/4.
I like the Wizards old uniforms too, with they had these gold uniforms with the stars on these black stars on the side. I freaking love those so much. Back when they Gilbert Arenas and
Agent Zero.
And the most lethal team in the NBA was the Detroit Pistons.
I think every team should have. I mean, I love them on the Eagles, but a blackout uniform. I feel like if you have black as your base, any color can pop on black.
Yeah.
Yeah. So UNC has black uniforms and they're black and blue, and it still looks cool. It'd be sweet to see black Sixers jerseys with red font across. Cool. Yeah. Or some might not work as well, but I just think all black, it's intimidating.
Yeah.
Your colors are gonna get off.
Yeah. It doesn't clash with anything. You can do a blackout in the stands too.
That's always cool. I mean, some do white or some do the team color.
Yeah.
Yellow or whatever.
Yeah, they like to do a lot during the playoffs too, so they can wave all those things during the games.
Yeah. I feel bad for the NBA though, because they do I think the Grizzlies did it one year, and I'm like, you guys aren't getting past the second round. You're so hyped.
But I mean, it's still nice. It's still nice.
It's still fun to go to.
Yeah.
I just it's kind of like the elephant in the room though. You're kind of
it's but we're going against the Warriors, and they haven't lost a playoff game this entire playoff series. They also haven't lost a game. Last year, leading into the playoffs, they hadn't lost a game since March.
That's insane.
March 9th. And then they didn't lose. They lost they lost 2 games from March until the finals. And then they lost 1 game in the finals. And they swept through the rest of the playoffs. They're probably going to do that again this year. Unless the Rockets really turn into something. The Rockets have a legit shot. I mean, I still hate the way that James Harden plays. That's the one who you might. Who I think
he's been around a little while.
He's been very late.
He's been the face of a new team.
Yeah,
he was part of a big 3.
Yeah,
the most overused term in the NBA.
I mean, that was a legit big 3 though. I mean, you had 2 MVP, 2 MVP winners and and an MVP runner-up. I mean, like, that's 3 legitimate superstars
who made some of the best SportsCenter commercials. But that was, when the Suns was there, I was like, yeah. And then every time there was 3 good players on the team, I was like, big three. I'm like, okay, now that face is dead. Like, media killed it. But anyway, he was part of that, and then he went to the Rockets and kind of became the face of the Rockets.
Yeah, he definitely did. I mean, he had the first 60-point triple-double in NBA history this week.
Which Colin Cowherd trashed.
Of course he did.
He was saying, because the announcers were like, with an MVP performance tonight. He's like, that's not MVP performance with the way the game is played.
I will be the first to admit that I'm not a huge James Harden fan. I'm not a fan of his game at all. But I mean, you gotta salute. He had a 60-point triple double. Like, that's insane. That's absolutely insane to me. And I know he was the only one on the court because they were resting like CP3 was not there. Trevor Ariza was off too. So he was really the only one that was on the court. But I mean, 60-point triple double. That's freaking incredible. It's averaging 31.6 points per game. Okay, so we're kind of getting MVP talk. We'll leave this for the next. We'll leave this for the next episode.
Yeah. I'm just saying, James Harden might be it depends on how much defense voters take into account.
Oh, they don't care about that at all.
Because I've seen stats like LeBron is such a good player because he's also good on defense.
Yeah.
But in basketball, it's like, do you really care about the defensive side of the ball?
Right. And I think sometimes it could be more reputation. They getting all defense first team. It could be more reputation than actual he's one of the best players and he can kind of sort of play defense, you know.
Yeah. Unless Embiid gets a triple double and one of those is because he had 10+ blocks.
Yeah.
You know,
right.
And he just keeps destroying people, you know. Unless you're a 7-foot guy who just destroys, dunks or something, you're not going to get...
I mean, he dunked all over Russell Westbrook. That was filthy. That's filthy.
My man.
That's a great rivalry, too, between him and Westbrook. It's hysterical.
I feel like Embiid, he doesn't care if he's in a rivalry.
No.
He's having fun. He's having so much fun playing the game. But, the Durant-Westbrook rivalry was, a real thing.
Yeah.
No matter what either of them said, that was a legit rivalry.
For sure.
But Embiid's just, having fun.
Yeah, he's just
people. And some people might take it too seriously.
Yeah.
And then I think that's what gets him even more.
Yeah. And he'll troll you during the game, too. We did to Andre Drummond, too.
Yeah.
He'll troll you before and after the game. Even in a loss, he'll still find a way to troll you. He'll still find a way to get the last laugh and be pissed and piss you off. And I think that's hysterical. They lost the season series. They got swept in the season series to OKC. But he's still trust the process. Him on Instagram with a picture of him dunking over Russell Westbrook, and that's hysterical to me. That's perfect.
Yeah, I think that's what makes MLB so fun too, because so many players have fun.
Yeah,
I feel like NFL. There's some fun people in the NFL, but the NFL and and somewhere else, there's not a lot of behind the scenes. But with Embiid, NBA takes it so seriously. They have fun, but they're not that. Embiid just takes it to a whole new level. I feel like if more players were just so much more relaxed, it'd be more fun to watch.
Yeah,
especially in today's day and age with 24/7 coverage.
Yeah, give you something to talk about.
Yeah. Alright, we're at 59 minutes.
Alright, yeah, wrap it up.
Alright, so that's ended up only being Hall of Fame discussion. So, tell us what you think about stuff, Hall of Fame, if you would change the voting process. Who you think are valid Hall of Famers, not valid Hall of Famers, stuff, other things. I don't know. Tell us what you had for breakfast. I don't care. Alright, squad out.